We're good.
Okay. All right, and we are live. What is going on, people of Earth? It's Alonna with 570 Press, and I am back with another music chat. And tonight, I have Crooked Ways with me. Have not had them on in about 2 years, so super excited for this one. As you'll see, my hair is different as it always is. What else is new? Anyway, what's going on with you guys?
Not much.
Oh, man.
Not many new hairstyles except for Steve's. Steve's has gotten probably triple the length since the last time you had spoken
That's
to us.
probably very true. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just running its thing. It's its own animal at this point. It's its own entity. So
You gotta
Nice.
let
I
it
keep it
down.
tame.
I respect
Steve-
that. And you know what? Pretty soon you'll be able to braid your beard. It'll be fine. That'll be dope.
Exactly. So
Mhm.
That'd be a good
Steve-
look for you, man.
I have no plans for it except just let it be what it is, and we'll see what happens. That's the fun.
Teach me your ways. I have to get that because every time I look in the mirror, I'm like, I need a new hair color right now.
I mean, I've never been picky about color, but I mean, this is still.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never dyed my hair. No, I've actually I've never dyed my hair. Never
Wow.
had the opportunity to, and I don't know if I really would, because they always say about blonde though, once you dye it, it never goes back to the original way it was. So I don't know if I want to risk that.
See, I don't know how true that is, but it might be because like I'm a natural, like I have like red in my hair, so it's kind of weird. And when my roots grow in, they're like jet black. So I think you might be right about that blonde thing. I think you might be right.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, once this thing's out, and I don't want to take it out right now because that we'll spend a whole hour just trying to put it back. But it's beautiful, as some would say.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That exactly.
Exactly. So what have you guys been up to? I see you guys have a show in the coming weeks with Fuel and Another Day Dawns. Congratulations on that. That's super awesome. Penn's Peak is a rad venue too.
Yeah, we're
Thank you.
crazy excited about that one. It's definitely going to be the biggest show we've ever played. So
Yeah,
very,
hell yeah.
very psyched.
Hell yeah. Now have you guys ever been to Penn's Peak?
I've never been there.
I've been there.
Yeah.
Been there,
It's
but
a pretty amazing venue. We're very honored to be stepping foot inside of there as a performer. So that's cool.
Beautiful. I saw Lita Ford and Firehouse there. Beautiful. And the sound system, oh my God, it's amazing. Because sometimes you'll go to like some of like these bigger shows, and I find that sometimes it's hard to hear some of the bands, but their sound system is just top tier. I love it.
Yeah, it seems like they're very elite at everything they do. So we're very excited for that.
I'm very, very excited. Just looking at pictures, it's just a beautiful venue. Like I can't wait.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then, if you walk outside, there's like this kind of stone balcony thing, and you're like overlooking the whole valley. I love it.
Yeah.
It's cool
we're
too
gonna
for smaller bands like to get the opportunity to play there. We always say like if there were venues like the Steel Stacks or places like Penn's Peak that had local regional band showcases like that, it would probably draw a ton of people because a lot of bands kind of like us don't always get the opportunity to do it. So we definitely take it for granted once we actually get that opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. And it's kind of like a homecoming too. It's kind of hometown for you guys too. So that's,
all based in the valley.
Yeah, for sure. So
it's gonna be for like a lot of the bands, like all the bands on there. It's kind of a home show for them. Yeah.
Yeah, isn't
cool.
Fuel from? I think it's Harrisburg. I could be wrong. I know
you're correct.
Somewhere, yeah.
Yep, you're correct on that.
Yeah.
ADD is quite literally from like the Jim Thorpe area, I believe. So should be a good turnout too.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's like 3 bands coming home all on one night. It's like Halloween, the night he came home, but it's the night they came home.
All coming home.
Yeah, exactly. So fill me in. What have you guys been up to these past 2 years? It's been forever. Fill me in.
Woo, man.
Hanging.
Yeah, chilling, vibing.
About a year of that was in lockdown, but the other year was kind of spent writing and recording a new record. We spent most of last year doing that, and we were able to put it out this past fall. So been going hard trying to just push that out into the world a lot more, and it's a very different vibe than the original record, but the reception that we've been getting so far from it has been going hand in hand with the reception that we got from the first one. And we kind of mixed up the styles a little bit, make it a little bit heavier, so we can kind of play with whoever we want. In the fall, when we were doing some shows, we were opening with the son of Corey Taylor's band called Vended at Reverb. And we were able to go from a heavy show like that to a maybe more hard rock-esque show as opposed to like a metal hardcore show in the fall. So it just kind of gives us some versatility. So we made a bunch of moves probably during that time that gave us the opportunity to kind of bounce from who we're playing with a little bit more.
Yeah, and I think the super rewarding thing about it was we loved that first album, but when we went into the second album, we felt like we were making exactly the music we wanted to make. And like we felt super confident, just like with ourselves. Like when we put that together, we were like, yeah, we felt good about it. And it was cool to feel the same kind of reception from everyone who listened to it. Like everyone said that they really enjoyed it. And I mean, we would have loved it either way. It would have meant something to us, but the fact that everyone else got to share in that feeling with us was super cool.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite things about Totality, not like against Time to Panic, but in comparison to Time to Panic too, is that I felt like for Time to Panic, a lot of us like brought ideas or songs that were kind of already like flushed out, or we had a really good idea of what we wanted them to sound like to the table right away. And for Totality, I think there was a lot more group writing of songs, especially now that we have, last time we talked, I don't think Steve was with us. We didn't have a steady drummer at the time, and now we have Steve, who I think is here for the long haul. So being able to kind of write together and bring that sound of all four of us writing in unison, and kind of seeing that progression from here on out will be really cool to watch evolve as well.
Yeah, I definitely want to like hit on the point of the overall theme here was like the growth of this band from the last album to what we came to now, and even if it was me that came into the picture or someone else, I think it's just a sight to see like how we grew, how we matured on this next release and stuff. And I think people are going to be actually even more surprised with what we got cooking up next too. So, and like Pat said, you guys are stuck with me, so haha.
It's
get out. We hate you. No, I'm kidding.
Once he
later, yeah.
Disconnects.
Once he colors his hair, his ass is kicked out.
Yeah, we're done.
You just gotta do the beard.
I was gonna say the beard is definitely open for color. That could be a possibility.
You gotta braid it
like the Dimebag Daryl, but you have to braid it. So you have to do it in a way that like when you braid it, you still see some of the original color and the dyed color. So it looks cool.
Yeah, we'll make something happen.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So where did the name Totality come from? Because I know with Time to Panic, it was the whole Toy Story thing, which I still love that. I think about that a lot. Every time I watch Toy Story, I just think of that album now. So
that's cool.
And that's a good thing because I love the album and I love Toy Story, but I can't see Toy Story the same now.
Well, for Totality, it's almost like the maybe not in terms of themes and sounds of the albums, but in terms of where we were at in, the headspace of the band. So kind of what I was alluding to before, like for Time to Panic, there was learning all the songs, getting everyone up to speed on songs, making sure we practiced enough. It was very like, we were panicking a lot, So for Totality, we got Steve in the band, we kind of have a core group, and we kind of feel like everything is in totality. We're not really panicking as much anymore in terms of the band, and we've kind of grown and solidified that unit, so it feels like everything is totality.
Yeah. nice, nice.
It's just the gradual progression of life. The next record is called Puberty, but the guy's called Puberty.
Yeah, and just nothing else. Like literally, but no, it would be better if like every track spelled out the word puberty, like P U. Yeah, like
Yeah.
that would just be perfect.
It played into the
Yeah.
the spacey theme of the album too. The title, because like Totality was like something like about like the moment where the moon is like entirely in front of the sun, or like something about like entire obstruction. Like that's the point, is the totality point. And so that plays into like the album cover and some of the spacey themes that we got going on, and like the interludes and all that kind of stuff. So it was a cool word overall that kind of encompassed the whole feel of everything.
Hell yeah, I love that. So was space like a big like inspiration for you guys for that then?
It wasn't originally. We kind of I mean, I know Nick came with some of the earlier songs that ended up on Totality, and then we all kind of, like Pat said, collaborated on the rest of them. But then as they started to take shape, we kind of like found the lane of like what we wanted to talk about, and like I was like, oh, this already kind of goes with that, and this would make a really good transition into that. And then if we make a couple interludes, we can really tie this whole thing together and make it feel like there's a reason for it all. And it's not necessarily like a concept or like a rock opera or anything like that, because there's no continuous story, but it is certainly themed.
I feel like the art and almost like the imagery and feel of the whole record comes before the name. I'm pretty sure Zach had found what ended up being the cover art, the red moon, before the name. And when we saw it, we're like, yeah, of course that is the album. Kind of the same thing with Time to Panic. We knew we wanted it to be kind of frantic and kind of hectic in there, and the name kind of is an afterthought. But I feel like we might even more or less see what we wanted to be before we name it.
And it's funny too, because if you look at the songs in the album, you can kind of tell, like, at least for me, like thematically, you can kind of tell which ones came pre-determining space was the theme and post-determining space was the theme. So the two I can think of that came like at the tail end in terms of like lyricism and just songs in general are Nova and The Oblivion. Those are both the two that came kind of after we established the space theme. And obviously Nova, very heavy on the space, and Oblivion, like the lyrics in that song kind of tie a lot of the themes of the album together. And of course, like the explosion at the end is kind of just like blown up into the oblivion, you know? So it's kind of interesting to see. And it's looking back and thinking about like when you write those songs, like Destination Zero was a rework of a song we wrote back in like 2019, like super, you know, it was very Time to Panicky. And then obviously now it's probably the heaviest song we've ever written. It really only stayed the same because of the name. And then thinking about like, you know, Nick's a writing machine. So I remember it was before Time to Panic was even out. It was post-recording and pre-release. He was already sending me like chainsaw demos, like, hey, listen to the song I got. And like seeing that progression and how like now it's the same kind of thing with Totality. Like we, you know, post-recording, pre-Totality, Nick's already like, I got like 85 more songs I'm working on. Like, so it's really cool to be in a band with that headspace too of like, oh, hey, Evan. It's really cool to be in that headspace of like, we're always writing and always have that like inspiration coming. And kind of having that from one member, at least for me, feeds my motivation to like keep writing stuff and keep going myself. So
yeah, for sure.
I want to make one note, if I can, about the album art, since Nick pointed it out before. Was a dude, Andrew McCarthy, who I follow on Twitter, does a lot of like space photography, which is like, it's like incredible. Yeah,
it's amazing.
I was like looking at all his stuff, and I saw that Blood Moon pic on his website, and I was like, that's exactly what we need.
Yeah,
look that guy up on Instagram.
You don't mean the guy from the Brat Pack from like St. Elmo's Fire, do you?
I don't
like
think
Andrew,
so.
Like that Andrew McCarthy
might share the same name. I doubt that.
All right, because I was like, wait a minute, Andrew McCarthy's an artist now too?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
And
I messaged him right away, and I was like, hey, can we buy this? Can we use this for our album? And he was like, so cool. Very, very easy to work with. And then it took a while for us to like finish the album for it to come out. And he messaged after we announced the album cover, and he was like, "Dude, I totally forgot about this. This is so awesome." So he was like psyched to see it all come to fruition. So that was
Please look
awesome.
him up on Instagram because his entire Instagram grid is just filled with some
Yeah,
of
his
the most
catalog is
amazing.
insane.
It's not like it's not generic like space pictures. Not a knock
Mhm.
against the totality art, but that is like one of the more like he does some very eccentric, crazy stuff that I've never seen before. It's super impressive.
Hell yeah. I'm going to have to
Mhm.
check that out now. Not only am I curious, you know, because he has the same name as that actor, but I actually really do want to see his work.
Mhm.
Yeah, hell yeah. So in terms of like the writing process, did you write this album pre-COVID, during, or kind of like when things started to calm back down and kind of start to get back to normal?
Definitely
Yes.
started during because we had a lot of plans to tour Time to Panic, like a little bit. We had like a release show
Mhm.
planned, we had a bunch of shows planned, and we couldn't do any of that. So after the initial just kind of like what's going on phase, we kind of just like turned the time into writing a little bit, and then that leaked over like once things started to settle down a bit, and we finished it off. But yeah, I think it definitely started from that.
The initial conception of some of the songs too, they always start hitting me on guitar before we finish the recording. That's the way it's been so far for the past two. I'll start writing a follow-up piece before we finish in the studio with the current one, usually because I'm just inspired by stuff in the studio. I was like, of course this is what we need to do next, but we don't really start owning in on everything until probably several months after whatever the last piece was actually released on. But it's a very long process, but usually there's always ideas flowing around in one way or another.
Yeah, I feel like we all kind of also fall in the concept of if an idea comes up, just we'll write something. You know what I mean? Like what's, you know, we're still in the studio, you know, recording an album. What's really stopping us from throwing together another song? But you know, it's I've been very fortunate to work in some bands where there's a lot of people writing and a lot of people throwing ideas and like just super productive bands, and like these guys are putting in work. And you know, I mean, they're I think they're being a little modest, but especially Nick over here, who really could probably write about 7 songs a day if he really wanted to. But no, I don't think, like, you know, I think the answer, really, the question was like all 3 of those. It started, you know, when we were writing the last or recording the last album. Well, I wasn't with these guys, but rehearsing that album, you know, I think just especially even me coming into the band, we could realize, you know, maybe they could throw some more intricate stuff at me. So I think right there was the green light for Nick to be like, oh, let's go, let's give it to him and stuff. And I really pushed myself on Totality, as far as where I was in my career, because I did stop for a good 5+ years, so I didn't know where I was at, you know, in my skill level. So there's definitely some challenging parts to it, and on the stuff we're writing now, I'm even going to continue to do that. So I mean, these guys, it's a band of, we all push each other, and I think if we continue to do that, I don't think we ever really will stop writing. You know, we could be like Prince. We could have like a vault of 500 songs, and no one would ever know what they are. But hey,
Hell yeah. But you know what? See, like that's a good thing. It's like you said, like it could be like Prince and have like a vault. You know, like 20 years down the road when you guys are like, you know, winning a Grammy, you could be like, oh, hey, by the way, we don't have to write any more songs because we have 700 of them in the vault. So let's just release all these. Retire in luxury.
Yeah. Yeah, and like, go ahead.
No, really quick, just gonna say, like, it's truly addicting for me. I never do it. I never come out with the volume that I do with the intention of like, oh, this should be a record or anything. But it is the one thing that I've found that when I actually get it done, it is the most gratifying thing in the world to be able to be like, oh wow, like look at the song, like the sense of fulfillment that I get from putting initial ideas together and then seeing it grow into like what will eventually become a song is, in my mind, like the coolest thing ever. So it's like a drug for, like, I get addicted to it. I'm like, just one more. Like there was a song that got added to the record that we released last year that I think I had put together a week before we were done in the studio. I was like, hey guys, how about just one more? Like, you just slide it in there. And that's the way that's always been. Like, usually at some point, I'm like, yeah, I think this is good, but how about one more? Maybe two more. And
Mhm.
it's super addicting to
Mhm.
me, at least.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. You know, and I think that that's, you know, that's something that you can't replicate because you can't find that, you know, all the time. You
Mhm.
know, sometimes you'll see bands and they're like, oh, well, hey guys, I'm kind of like at a standstill and they won't release music for 5, 6, 7 years. So like when you have a machine that's constantly moving and you're constantly, you know, thinking and constantly coming up with new ideas, I think that that's super cool and that's something that you don't see very often.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think it's true with like gotta let Nick run while he's hot right now.
Yeah.
Because we can even if we don't like finish these songs right away, we're gonna have something ready like that we can work on later. There's always gonna be something that we can you know mold
nice
later on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Mm.
And I
have a
think
backup.
another great trait of this band too is I think we all very much respect each other's instrument. So when it comes to, you know, we all have ideas for each other's instrument, but I think we all really respect, you know, I know I love Zach's lyric writing and stuff like that. It's you know, it's very storytelling and poetic to me at times, and like I'm never gonna like tell Nick how to write a riff or something like that, or how Pat to really write his bass parts. And I think we all have that genuine respect, and I think, but also at the same time, we know when to I think step off our podium and let the song be the song as well, because I think that's a big part of
Right.
things as well. You know what I mean? I mean, one thing I was taught when I was a drummer at a young age is someone told me keep it simple, stupid, and you know, I mean, that's a very, you know, harsh way to say to a child, but in the sense, it's let the song be the song. You're not necessarily playing to be the craziest player out there, but you're playing to a song. So, and I
Right.
think that's one thing we all understand and respect, which I think shows through our music because, especially on this last release, I felt like no, it's not necessarily like, you know, Zach was saying, like an opera or a specific story of an album, but there's an absolute image, and the way we perceive things is how you see that image.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I think that the mutual respect is also a big thing because I think that a lot of, you know, bands and you see it with even like these bigger bands, you know, you'll have the bass player saying, no, I think the drum part should go like this, or et cetera, et cetera. And then, you know, everybody has, you know, too many irons in the fire, so to speak, because everybody's got a damn opinion. And I mean, they're entitled to that opinion, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's the right one. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. No,
So I think
absolutely.
so I think when you have that mutual respect, you know, as you said, and you're right, because you can absolutely hear it in the music as well, because you can clearly like hear that there's a respect there, and you're not saying, well, okay, but what if you did it like this? And you're not saying it like be hostile if you are saying it.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's always time for collaboration, but there's always time to let, you know, let them do what they have to do.
Right. Right. Exactly. Exactly. Because at the end of the day, you're making an inanimate object talk. And you know, that's so cool. That is so
I
cool.
like that. I like
Yeah.
that. That might be
Yeah,
a
you know,
song lyric.
yeah, for real.
Oh,
For
see?
real. Like I saw this quote one time. It's like, if you ever feel like you're a useless musician, just remember you're making an inanimate object speak. And I'm like, you know what? That was kind of harsh, but you know what? I like that. That's kind of
Yeah.
motivating too.
I'm writing that shit down right now.
Yeah.
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 So, what do you guys have coming up for the future? Obviously, you have your show. Well, right now it's next week. Yeah. Yeah, that would be next week. Yeah. Yeah. So, what do you have coming up for the future for this summer and things like that?
Pat's the guy.
Oh yeah, sure.
Got that all up here.
This
Pat's in the hot seat.
Yeah, exactly. So we actually have quite a few shows coming up right now, which is super exciting, especially after the last year of kind of having like one or two offs. I mean, really the last 6 months we played like Reverb, and that was basically it between, you know, so it's really nice to kind of have a string of shows coming up. But speaking of Reverb, this Sunday we'll actually be back at Reverb with Orange Goblin and the Atomic Bitchwax, and a Pennsylvania. They're a Pennsylvania Dutch stoner band, which is pretty cool. But their name is Grunsow. I'm pretty sure is how you say it. Grundsow. But anyway, that's at Reverb this Sunday, May 15th, and then we have the show with Fuel and Early Dawns at Penn's Peak Saturday, May 21st. and then we are playing our first showing in North Jersey at Dingbats in Clifton with Echo Road and a couple other their friends. So nice of them to ask us to be on that bill. And
that's close to New York too. So if you're in New York or Jersey, you come out to that one.
And then we have a couple things cooking in the summer. Can't say too much about it yet. It's not announced, but we'll be up in New England sometime this summer. So our first trip up north. Very excited about that. So keep an eye for that coming up soon. And then also September 10th at the Sherman Theater. It's a Saturday night. We are playing with Victim of Vengeance, which is a Judas Priest tribute band, and Horizontal. So that'll be our second time at the theater, and we're super excited to be back.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And the theater is a beautiful, beautiful venue. I haven't been there in a while. I haven't really been out anywhere in a while, but oh yeah. I'm definitely gonna have to get to a show now. I think my dad said he wanted to see Fuel, so I think I might be going to the show at Penn's Peak. So that'd be cool because I finally get to see you guys. Because I've been saying I'm going to for like 3 years, and then COVID was like, nope, no, you ain't.
Hey,
we'd love to see you.
Yeah, that'll be the show.
If you do come out, come stop by merch afterwards so we can hook you up with a t-shirt or something.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I'd love that. Yeah, that would be super cool, because I'm glad that things are finally back to some sense of normal. I mean, in terms of being able to actually go out and do things now. I mean, gas is kind of expensive, but you know what? I don't really care because I spent 2 years in my house, so
it all evens out.
To me.
Yeah, it's nice to see things starting to happen again. Like, I mean, even us within the band, we've been going to sporting events or concerts ourselves now, which I'm sure has been really nice to do after a long time of sitting at home and just watching sports on a TV, especially for me.
Yeah.
I love hockey, so it's been really nice to finally get to go to games again. So
hell yeah. It's funny. I kind of grew a fondness for watching concerts on TV, and that's only because when COVID first hit, my friend and I were sitting in my living room, and as a joke, I turned on a Nickelback concert, and I was like, "I'm front row for Nickelback, hell yeah!"
It's so fun. It's so funny you said Nickelback too, and I'm gonna show my age in this reference, but all these live stream concerts make me think of the old AOL sessions from back in the day, and I remember watching a Nickelback one, and it's so funny that you just mentioned Nickelback. So yeah, that's what everything reminds me of, these old AOL sessions.
Yeah. Oh
my
God.
Great performances.
They were great.
There was this obscure website in the mid 2000s that was a variation of Teen Nick, but it was called The-N. And they had these streaming parties where they would play random concerts, and all I remember was watching Broken Side while these little avatars were talking to each other, and I was awesome. 9 or 10 years old. I was like, this is the best thing ever. I'm sitting there coding my MySpace.
That's awesome.
Where do you fall on the Nickelback fan spectrum? It's a super important question.
Well,
I heard obviously.
I can listen to them and I don't hate them, but I would not voluntarily put them on.
That's fair.
That's
respectful. That should, in my opinion, my humble opinion, should be the answer of most people who hate them, because I feel like it's hard to deny that they are good songwriters and good musicians.
For real.
If you don't like their sound, that's one thing, but
yeah, but the thing is, people that hate them, they don't really have a legitimate reason as to why. It's I hate Nickelback. Okay, why though? Give me one reason.
They're the Kevin Harts of music. Everyone hates Kevin Hart for no reason either.
I mean, yeah, that's fair.
I mean, what do they say? Fame is measured with how many people love you but how many people hate you.
Yo, not only that, Gene Simmons himself, he's like, yo, all press is good press. So Nickelback's just sitting there raking in the dough. They don't care if anybody hates them or not.
Hey, that's what I mean.
Definitely jump around to some Nickelback. So no, it's I was watching. So this channel I watch on YouTube, it's called Lost in Vegas. They do a lot of reactions, and it's a reaction channel basically. They've been doing a hated bands marathon where they kind of I guess they have on this website that somehow they figure out the top 20 most hated bands, but like, you know, it's like Creed, Limp Bizkit, Sugar Ray, Nickelback, that sort of thing. And they did Nickelback, and I think they said it perfectly. Where like kind of like what you said, I wouldn't purposely like throw on Nickelback or go out of my way to listen to Nickelback, but if it comes on in like a bar or something, like Rockstar comes on in a bar, like hell yeah, like we'll listen to that, we'll jam to it. You know?
Oh yeah. Hell yeah. I was at an event the other day with my dad and Rockstar came on and we were just sitting there like yelling it at each other. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I can vibe with this. Yeah. And you know, when you mentioned Sugar Ray, I just realized that I am also about to age myself. The first time I saw Sugar Ray was in the Scooby-Doo live action movie.
Ooh.
That's
Very
wild.
Wow.
What's a Sugar Ray song? I'm blanking right now.
I honestly couldn't tell you either.
Yeah,
right now.
No, he does fly. Like, I just want to fly.
I was gonna say
okay.
I could sing it, but I don't know the name.
That one. Yeah.
See, I just know that it's like that scene on the beach where everybody's a monster and then like Daphne's just walking by and the guy's like yelling in her face and I'm like, okay. And I found out later that was Sugar Ray. I was like, I don't know who that is, but all right.
There he
This
is.
song too, I
there he
looked
is.
up, where it's like called Every Morning. You probably know that
Yeah.
if you heard it, but that's also Sugar Ray. It's like every morning.
Yep.
Yeah, I know the one. The one they play in Scooby Doo, he's like, I count the days till I see you again or something, and I'm like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
all right. I mean, it wasn't awful. It wasn't awful, but I wouldn't would not voluntarily listen to them.
Scooby Doo bringing in the A-list talent here. For 2000 and 2001.
Listen, the 2000s were a totally different time, and I tell everybody who's younger than me that I'm like, you had to be there, okay?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
wild times.
in a similar vein, who would be? You know, we had Sugar Ray and Scooby Doo. Now, which early 2000s? There wasn't one, but like hypothetically, which early 2000s band could you see playing in a Spy Kids movie?
Oh man, it's like Simple Plan or something like that.
Candlebox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Candlebox.
Cool, Candlebox.
No, because Simple Plan is more like Cheaper by the Dozen. Like I could see them literally playing
Sure.
like a concert in Cheaper by the Dozen.
Yeah.
Like Spy Kids, I feel like is like Candlebox.
Or like POD or something like that.
Yeah.
I saw.
mean,
I saw. Speaking of like back in the day, I saw Candlebox at Croc Rock like way long ago. I mean, one Croc Rock, and but I remember we were at the Candlebox show at Croc Rock, and I had like a singular like push up neon green phone. And I gave it to the singer I called my buddy and I gave it to the singer and he like sang into the phone the entire time. My buddy was like, I had no idea what was going on because it sounded all jumbled. So, I mean, it was cool in theory, but
The service was not getting through.
yeah.
Whoever's running that 570 account right now said Good Charlotte would play in Spy Kids.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure that
kinda
out
see
too.
that.
I'm like, who's doing that? Because they said Lit is playing in a bar in Hershey. And I'm like, wait a minute, hold up. What?
I can see, you know, it's kind of a little different genre-wise, I guess, but I can see Linkin Park being in a Spy Kids movie. You know, Transformers, kind of,
I
kind
get that.
of reminded me of, you know, Transformers, so I could see maybe Linkin Park throwing some hits in there.
Oh, hell yeah.
I also want to shout out Evan Phillips, who's been in the comments a lot. We love him. We love you, Evan.
Yes.
Yeah,
Putting dubs in the chat.
hyping us up. We appreciate that.
You know, speaking of like early 2000s like stuff, I was just thinking when you mentioned Simple Plan, it reminds me that earlier today I was listening to the What's New Scooby-Doo theme song and I realized that is Simple Plan and it has been all along.
Yep.
Yep.
I was like, wait a minute, I know that guy.
That's like, I think, is it a semi-popular band does Jimmy Neutron? Is it Bowling for Soup? I don't know if it's Bowling for Soup or not.
No.
It's somebody that's like
Bowling for Soup did
Phineas and Ferb. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's okay.
And their singer is the voice of Chuck E. Cheese.
Yes, he is.
I didn't really.
Yeah.
Guys, the Jimmy Neutron theme was also Bowling for Soup,
Was it really?
Was it
Yeah.
really?
which I feel like is very
Right.
not sounding like Bowling for Soup, but it 100% is. I confirmed.
That's wild.
Yo, okay, no,
Why
there's
haven't
no
they
way
done that?
because That sounds like Sum 41 to me. Okay, that sounds like Derek Whibley's voice, not Jared Reddick.
No, they should just make TV themes for the rest of their lives, and that's
Oh, it was covered by Bowling for Soup, which was used in the movie. I'm getting deep into this right now.
He's diving deep.
Yeah. The original band was called Man or Astro Man.
Oh, okay, I know. That. Yeah.
Super fitting then. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I still think they
So this is what
like
we're doing now.
Yeah.
This is
I still think like the band who sings the Jimmy Neutron theme song is like a crossover between Fountains of Wayne and Sum 41, like somewhere in the middle.
Mhm.
It's funny. It's funny hearing about like different really popular bands that do songs for like children's shows or like shows you would expect them to. Like I think of SpongeBob in particular. There's 2 instances in SpongeBob where the Loop De Loop song is done by Ween. And there's a song, the really heavy song in the episode Pre-Hibernation Week, where like Sandy's about to hibernate and SpongeBob and Sandy do all this extreme stuff. Is Pantera, yeah.
Yeah, and then David Bowie was in the one Atlantis.
He was in an episode.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
David Bowie and oh my God, I know him, Sebastian Bach from Skid Row.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always think that's so strange. Like when you have like these like mega celebrities who are like known for like controversy, and then they're in a kid show, you're like, hold on, what? Yeah, you're like, wait a minute.
Everyone needs money every now and then. Come on.
True. Can we talk about how they're milking the shit out of the SpongeBob franchise too? Like,
oh my,
yeah,
I feel very passionate about this.
Yeah, we are very tied to SpongeBob.
I mean, okay. As much as I love SpongeBob, I mean, I have 2 SpongeBob tattoos, but you gotta let it die. You gotta.
Yeah.
Well, the reason, because now they're doing like, you know, the Camp Coral thing, the Patrick thing, and like the reason none of that happened until because SpongeBob's obviously like way past his prime. We all know that, but like the reason it didn't happen until now is because Steven Hillenburg was very specifically like, I don't want any sequels. I don't want anything. Like I don't want any spinoffs. I don't want anything. It's SpongeBob. And then after he died is when they started doing all the Camp Coral and everything else. But
literally, they took Mr. Krabs when he digs up the that hat, and he's like, "Am I really going to get filed to spray for money? Of course I am."
Yeah.
They literally took that, and they were like, "Good idea." Let's do that.
Foreshadowing of the future of the series.
Yeah, literally.
It's scary. SpongeBob has changed. SpongeBob's not the same person that he used to be.
Well, it was supposed to end after the first movie. It was supposed to be like the series finale, and then it just kept going. Like if you ever look at the beginning credits, the like creative directors and all are different after the movie because it used to be like Derek Dryman for a while, and then after the movie, and after they left, it was like, you know, they just kept it going because obviously you're not gonna shut SpongeBob down after you come out with a huge movie, even though that's kind of like the climactic finish of the series. SpongeBob becomes manager and that's it, you know. But so if you put it ends there, it's great.
The best
man's got his SpongeBob facts down. Like,
yeah.
They were just like, hey, remember when we made SpongeBob manager? We lied.
Yeah. Like,
I heard someone say before that the best days of SpongeBob was when SpongeBob was on the verge of like saying things that would get him canceled nowadays, like. If you think about the panty raid, if you would have panty raid on a children's show nowadays, like you would be out of here.
That was his own mom's house. Like Mr. Krabs' mom's house.
That would not fly now. That would not fly.
Oh my God. No. And there's so much. There is so much. Like the episode where like the oil spills on the fish, they're all automatically turned right into fish sticks. Like, fish sticks. Yeah.
Get your fish sticks.
Yeah. Oh man.
There's a lot of weird like skin theory stuff about SpongeBob characters because like there's literally like fish wearing fish costumes in the show. So if you kind of think about that, that'd be like humans wearing human skins as a costume. So
I mean,
if you really want a rabbit hole on some SpongeBob, look up some SpongeBob skin theory stuff. You're welcome.
See, that's not as
we always get here. We always get to SpongeBob skin theory.
Okay, but that's not as weird as the fact that Plankton's literally a cannibal. This
that
chums
too.
get fish.
Yeah.
It's true.
So I mean,
he's the secret ingredient.
Yeah. 4 heaping pounds of freshly ground Plankton?
Yeah. Whoop.
Yeah. Oh man. I could sit here and talk and quote SpongeBob for hours because, you know, again, not ashamed. I don't care. And I feel like our generation is like, we're gonna be like sitting in a nursing home in The Office and SpongeBob are just gonna be on a loop. And we're just playing Super Smash Brothers being like, what are they selling? You know.
Yeah.
Chocolate.
Yeah.
We came up in the best generation. That's what it is.
Yeah, for sure.
Everyone
For
does.
sure. Yo, another very controversial show is Rocco's Modern Life. I love that show, but that shit would not fly today either.
Oh yeah, and Steve. Speaking of Steve Hillenberg, like that's where he came from. He did a lot of stuff on Rocco, and
Tom Kenny was the turtle. I don't remember the turtle's name.
it was
Filbert.
So
Filbert.
Filbert was
different turtle. Never mind.
Filbert was Mr. Lawrence who did Plankton, right? And then I think Heifer is Tom Kenny who does SpongeBob.
Yeah.
Yep.
But that show is something. Isn't there one where Rocco works for like a sex hotline or something, or he's like, talking to his neighbor.
Yes, and you know this is the stuff we grew up on, and now
here we are.
This is where we are, and now it wouldn't fly, but
kids just aren't cultured anymore. All these cartoons that they have on there now.
Okay, but
they have Bluey, dude. You're undeniable.
Undeniable.
The parents of today's children were raised on those shows, so you would think that these kids would be like, "Oh boy, SpongeBob!" No, they are not.
I almost feel like that's probably like how we were with like the Jetsons and Flintstones. And like our parents were raised on that, and then when I look at it, I'm like, that's for like those are old people cartoons. So I wonder if like kids now are like, SpongeBob's such an old person cartoon.
See, I watched Jetsons and Flintstones.
Same, and the original.
Well, I did too, but I still had that vibe. It's like this is very clearly like a cartoon that my parents watched. You know what I mean?
I mean, my parents are older too, so that's probably why that was more subjected to it.
Yeah, I was like, Josie and the Pussycats and Scooby Doo, Where Are You? The whole
that was me too.
Fun stuff. Yeah, Popeye the Sailor Man.
Yeah.
Yep. Popeye was another big one.
Yep. Yeah. Well, this was fun. I loved this, and this was great. This was great. Seriously, thank you guys so much for hanging out. And I hope to catch you guys next week at a show. If not, I will definitely catch you at one this summer coming up.
No,
absolutely. Yeah. We'd love to have you.
Thank you for bringing us on. As always, it's always so much fun talking to you and seeing you.
Hell yeah. You guys too.
Thanks.
And if you haven't already, if you're watching and don't know who we are, feel free to follow us on our socials. We have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We have a Snapchat, even though we haven't used it in like 2 years, but it's there. But it's all Crooked Ways Band, one word. That's how you can find us. We'll have it in the comments somewhere in the post for sure. And
check out our latest release,
Totality, Time to Panic. We're on a T theme, so apparently we have to keep up. Next album has to also be a T title, or we can switch it up. Who knows? We'll always keep you guessing.
Yeah.
Tee it up.
Yeah. Just keep with the T's. Just all T's.
Yeah, all T's.
Yeah.
Turbo time.
And literally just change your band name to just a giant T. Perfect.
Yes. I love
We're getting there.
See, my name is a giant T, but your logo would be like a bag of tea.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yes.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. So
all our stage names could be different spellings of the word T.
I mean, we figured it out.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're there, so
That's
that's the big exclusive, guys. So our name is now T.
Yeah.
You heard it here
Hot
first.
off the press. You heard it here tonight.
My name is now T-Bone.
My name is T-Bag.
Come to the show showing your T's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cross your T's and dot your I's,
All right.
Yep.
All right. Well, you guys have a great night.